Hi viewers and welcome to the channel, and today we're looking at the curves workbench, and I'm going to go through the sweep along two rails, and from here we can make such things as this spade. You can see the profile at the back and the front are differ, and we've got a N.U.R.B surface between those two. I've also done the same with a shovel there. Got slightly different profiles, and also we've got something totally different, this corrugation effect the front and a straight effect at the back, and this also curves upwards as well, like so. And we're going to be looking at the different features in the curves workbench to do this. I'm going to try to go through all the features in this series, and we're going to be looking at the join curves, which is essential for creating a single B-spline from multiple lines, wires, etc. that we need for rails and a supporting geometry. In this, it all sounds too complex, but it's not. We're also going to be using the approximate points to N.U.R.B's curved surface, and we're going to be using the sweep profiles on two rails. So these three are the main ones we're going to cover with this tutorial. In other tutorials, we're going to go through all the others. So I'm hoping to do a full curves workbench experience for you so you can understand how to use those and what you can use them for, because it's always good to get a demonstration of what you can use them for. I hope you enjoy, and let's get to it. If you like this video, please hit a like and also subscribe to the channel. I also have a Ko-Fi site where you can actually donate to my contributions to the community, and that's at ko-fi.com/MANG0. So for the first demonstration, I'm going to be creating a simple shovel, and we're going to be using that to demonstrate the sweep across two rails. Now, the sweep across two rails is in the curves workbench, and we'll be using the part design, part sketcher, and the curves workbench to do this. Now, the reason why we're using the part design is because we're going to be using the datum planes. So I've just jumped into a new document, and I'm already in the part design, and I'm going to create a new body, and I'm going to create a new sketch. Now, the first thing I need to do is figure out how this is going to be built. So if we're sweeping across two rails, we're basically going to draw the outline of the shovel. And when I say draw the outline, I mean drawing the left and the right lines, the profile at the front and the profile at the back. This is the reason why you need datum planes, because you're going to place a datum plane on one of those profiles, because we can only do XY, XZ and YZ for our sketching, but we need another plane probably along the ZX for the front of the shovel. So I'm going to start on the XY, and we're going to be looking down the shovel, and we're going to be using the vertical and the horizontal guidelines here, and we're building the model around the center. The reason why we're using these lines is to connect up each of the profiles and also to do symmetry across those. So the first thing I'm going to do is do the sides, and I'm going to use the arc tool here. Now when you normally come in, it's got the arc here, this one selected, and I want the endpoints and rim point, because what I can do, I can connect to this line, and then using the auto constraints, because that's done a point on line constraint, I can bring this up and I can place it about here and just bring this out into a kind of shovel / spade shape. And we can just do some amendments on here to get in the right shape. Something like that will do. And then using this line and this vertical line here, we're going to do a symmetry. So click your arc, control click your vertical line. You can take your finger off the control now, and you've just got the mouse movement. And we're going to use the sketch tools and symmetry, or it's over here on your toolbar, and here it is. create symmetrical geometry with respect to the last selected line or point. Now we last selected this vertical line here, so that will make a symmetry across there like so, which is exactly what we want. We can put some constraints in here if we so desire, so I'm going to put these 2 points and make sure they're horizontal, and these will be on this line, so automatically horizontal, and I can set some lengths in here if I so desire, or I can set the distance between these two like so, 100, and I can restrict that down if I so desire, but I'm not going to bother too much about that. So I'm going to close out that, and that's the sides of the shovel done. So let's have a look. What I tend to like to do is come into the sketch, go to view, come down to object style, and change that line color. I'm going to change it to blue. So that gives me an idea of what's up, what's down, what's left, what's right. So these two are blue now. And you'll see it gets quite confusing in 3D space if we just have a number of lines, because perspective, sometimes you think it's in the background when it's actually in the foreground. So this helps orientate you in the right space. We're next going to create the back of the shovel. And for that, I need another sketch. And we're going to have a look at the planes. So I want it on the back here, coming down here. So that's the XZ plane. If you get stuck trying to figure out what planes are, if you look down here, this will tell you what plane we're on. So if I click front, you can see we're on the ZX or XZ plane there. So that's the plane that we want. I'm going to click over here or click on that one. That's okay that. So our sketch is now on here. If we put a little bit of angle on there, you can see our working plane has intersected those two lines there, which is exactly what we want. And we can see those sketches in the background. Now I need to connect up the back to these vertices here. And we can do that by importing this using the create an edge link to external geometry or sketch geometries, external geometry there. If I click that and import this line, what's going to happen is I'm going to get 2 points like so along there. That's not what I want. I want that vertex to come through. I'm just going to hit escape and delete that. So I've got to click that vertex, and as you can see, it's quite hard to get that, but there is a trick. If you go over to model, click on your sketch, and remember we coloured it last time. Well, we can also increase the point size. If we increase this point size, that increases the vertex size, and it's easier to select. So click on the create an edge link to external geometry and import that vertex there, and also import the other one. So we're going to need that, and now I can create the shovel back on here, which will be merged with the profile on the front when we do our surfacing. Hit escape, so I've got a mouse pointer back. Now I'm going to use a B-spline to create the shape that I want, and I'm going to auto constrain it with a point on point constraint. Important to do the point on point constraint there, and we're going to make the back something like, and just connect it to that line, the line point on object constraint like so. Remember the auto constraints are on, and hit escape, and we've got the back of the shovel. And we can hit escape again and do some finer amendments to these if we so desire for a different look at the profile. There we go, like so. Now again, I'm going to do a mirror across here. So we'll select this B-spline, control and click the vertical, and use the symmetry again. And what you need to do is make sure that, because at the moment these aren't connected up, so it's worth connecting these up. So I'm just going to highlight those two, connect them up, and do the same here and connect those. Select two or more vertices, so I've selected those, so let's just zoom in and just come in here, select those two and connect those up. So we're all connected up. I'm not worried about the degrees of freedom, that's all good. So that's our back profile, but we've got a problem which can be easily solved with the Curves Workbench. Because we've created two B-splines, we've got, more effectively, we've now got two rails here, two supporting lines that actually need to become one. So when we actually do our surfacing, this whole B-spline needs to become one. And the Curves Workbench has a tool for that. It's really easy to use. You just click the sketch, you click the tool, and it's done. And we'll get to that in a moment. Let's close that. Let's see what we've got. So we've got the back and the sides, and now we need the profile at the front. So we've got 1, 2, which will become a surface, and then at the moment, well, there's two rails here which will become one. So there's one rail here. The supporting line will be called rails. So we need to place a rail along here, and this is where we need to create a datum plane, because look at our origins. We've got the ZX plane that goes along here. We've got these sides sitting on the XY plane. Well, we need a plane along here, and well, we can't get a plane along here. There's no such plane with the origin planes. We need a datum plane. Leave the origin plane icon visible, because this will help you when placing the datum plane. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this plane that sits on the back here, this XZ plane, and we're going to use that to position our datum plane. So we'll click the datum plane. So there are no attachment modes that fit selected objects. Select something else. So that's fine. Look on the task, there's nothing being referenced, and selecting is visible. So if that's not visible, just click reference 1 and click on the XZ plane. And that's placed it along the XZ plane. And then that's still saying selecting. If it isn't, click it and then click our vertex. And that's moved it into the correct position. Okay, so that's sitting there now. We can hide the origin by clicking on it and pressing spacebar. And we'll just move in and create our sketch along this plane. Hit the sketch and that will place a sketch along here. Just place a little bit of angle so we can see what's going on. So you can see that's being placed on the front of those vertices like that, and we're looking at it from the front as in the back of the shovel, if that makes any sense. We need to import that vertex, and we're doing the same with the create an edge link to external geometry. So import the vertex, not the line. Zoom in a bit and see if we can get that vertex. There it is, a red dot in there, and we can create the front profile. So I'm going to use just a basic arc for that. So create an arc by its endpoints and point along an arch. So come in here, use the point on point constraint on that side and the point on point constraint on that side, and create the arc that you want. So I want something like that. If you want to use a different shape, you can, but I'm just going for that. So let's close that. So we now have the outline of the shovel. I'm just going to save that. So our next stage is to create a surface using these two sides. We could use the front and the back. It's up to you which way around you want to do this. But I'm going to create a ruled surface across these two. And to do that, we need to go to the part, and we're going to use the create ruled surface from either 2 edges or 2 wires. So these are the 2 edges I'm going to use. I know they're in one sketch, that's absolutely fine. And it's also available from the part create ruled surface there. So we need to click on one edge, control click on the other, and create the ruled surface across those 2. That's the first stage. I'm just going to hide this datum plane. Now I need to come over to the curves workbench. Now if you haven't got this installed, it's available from Tools, Add-on Manager, and there you'll find the curves workbench, which I've already got installed. It's not the curve shapes, it's the curves workbench, and you can install that there. Now I've got the ruled surface. I can use that with our rails. Now at the moment we have 3 rails. We've got this front and the 2 back ones because they are separate B-splines. So remember, we're going to create these as one. So if we take one B-spline, control click the other, I know they're in one sketch, and we're going to use the tools along here. Now there's one tool along here, and it's called the join curves, and that's also on curves, join curves there. If I click that, you get this join curves icon here. So that was the sketch 01. You can see it's highlighted in green. We don't need that now, so just press spacebar to hide that. And now we've got this join curves here, and as you can see, it's one single curve. If you highlight it, it's now in orange, rather than if I hide that and bring in the sketch, rather than if I highlight this, it's in 2 parts, so orange there and orange there. That's great, that's exactly what we need. Don't have to worry about connecting anything up because that's all ready in the right place. These are now known as rails. We've got the rail at the front and the rail at the back. We just changed our terminology here. So the sketch at the front is the rail, front rail, the sketch at the back is the back rail. To deform this surface across these 2 rails, what we need to do is first select the ruled surface and then come around, control click the back and control click the front, and you can see they've all selected there. If you look along here, you'll see an icon called Sweep Profiles on 2 rails, or come up to the surfaces and sweep 2 rails there. Click that and you get something called a point cloud. So we see our top curve there for the size of the shovel, and the point cloud that will become our surface. Now it's important that you click on the sweep 2 rails point cloud there. And if we look over here, we have some data, and you can see there's a number of different items in here. We've got points, profiles 20. Let's bring this out a bit. Profile samples 20, and these can be changed, but we're just going to keep for the defaults for the time being. So I'm going to click on the sweep to 2 rails and come up to one of these icons along here, and we want the approximate points to Nurbs curves or surface. And that's also available in the curves approximate there. We click that, what happens is that you get the surface all mapped out for you. There you go. What we're going to do is offset this now so it becomes thicker. And to do that, if you jump over to the part, and we're going to use the offset tool on here. click the approximate curve and come up here, and we've got tools to offset shapes. And if you drop that down, we've got the 3D offset, which we'll be using. It's also available on the part 3D offset down there. So we've clicked our approximate curve, select 3D offset, and that makes 2 now. So you've got two skins, and we need to fill the offset like so. And we can increase the millimeter of this, so we can increase this up. So it's increasing, for 2 mil. I can even send it the other way, so I've put a -2 mil for it to go downwards rather than upwards, like so. Hit OK. And one thing you need to do is come in here, and this approximate curve surface, you can see that there. That needs to be hidden, because if I right click and transform this, it will be separated from there. So we can come in here and hide that by pressing the spacebar on there, and we can deal with our offset now. So that's all done. If we so desire, we can add a connection point on the end of here, such as create a tube and give it some radius there, something like 20 millimeters. So I've just increased the speed of the video here because you don't really want to see me go through this process. This is a very basic process of transforming that tube. We're also resizing it, so I'm changing the inner diameter and the outer diameter, the length, and also we're doing rotates and dragging that in place with the right click transform. So they're very basic operations. We're doing that so we can union the two parts at a later time. And OK that, and we can do our usual fusions, etc. if we so desire. So you can select the offset, select the tube, and use the boolean in there to fuse those together. So there's a quick shovel using those sweep along 2 rails in the curves workbench, and also we went through some other tools in there just to recap. So we used sweep profiles on 2 rails, the join curve to create a single curve for the profile. We use the approximate points to NURBS surfaces there as well. And on the part, we use the rule surface and the 3D offset. Obviously this can be done from different planes as well, so it's not just this profile on the front plane along the ZX plane and the side of the shovel. You can see those sides are still visible there, so let's just hide those. Those, if you go top, along the ZY plane. So we don't have to key to those planes, we can switch between them quite easily. For example, if I started a new and go into the part design and create a body, create a sketch in there, and this time we started on the other plane, the YZ plane, so along the right, and OK that, and then we could create a profile along here for the sides. And I'm going to attach, and let's say, so I'm going to attach, say here, and I'm going to come out so it sweeps upwards like so. And then we'll create another sketch by duplicating that, edit, duplicate selected object, OK that, and we don't need that, let's get rid of that. So this one here, we're going to transform that, so come down to placement, position the X, so I can't use placement there, let's use the attachment. It's not, it's actually along the Z. So let's go along the Z. So this is pushing it away, so go along 100. We've got 2 there, like so. Let's go a bit more. So those are separated out. So if we're looking from the top, those are there. Next, I want to come around to the front and add a profile along here and create a datum plane. And we want our origin to show, so we want it along the XZ plane there. So select datum plane, map mode, deactivate, that's come back in there. So that's selecting XZ plane. There we go. So that's correct. And then we want to click on the plane. So this top one's selecting again, and we want to select that vertex. So it crosses those vertex like so. So this will have probably 2 datum planes, on the front, on the back. Okay, that, come in, click your datum plane, do a new sketch on there, and just hide the origin, which going down looks like it already has. It hasn't, there we go, that's hidden. Now we need to import that vertex. And the other one, which is already imported, so it's attached to the center there. And we can create our profile on the back. So I'm going to just use an arc on the back here. So connect those 2 up. Like so, and just decide what kind of shape that I want. Hit escape, and I'm just going to hide that datum plane and come out of that sketch. Just bring this around the back. You can see when you don't color it how awkward it can be sometimes when you're trying to figure out what way around this is. Now I'm going to just show the origin there, bring this around, and I want a new datum plane. Okay, that, and I want it attached to this plane here. ZX plane starts, and then attach it to, that's where it's gone wrong, let's get rid of that. So click on plane and attach it to that point there. Let's move it into position. Okay, that. Come in and we'll add a profile along here. Now what kind of profile do we want? I'm going to create a sketch on there, like so. We've still got the origin showing, so click on it, hide it, and see where that is. So I need to come to the right and import that vertex. Like so, escape, and I'm going to create a jagged profile. So I'm going to click that, and I'm just going to come down and just create something like that. Doesn't matter, it's just for demonstration purposes. And escape that, and those should be connected. Are they connected? Yep, they're connected. So those are done. Let's close that. So we'll take in the part. So let's take this one and that sketch 3 and see if we can put a ruled surface across there. So you can see what happens. You try to put a ruled surface across there because this is broken, so you can see the yellow lines across there. Let's just hide that datum. It's not one continuous line. You can see if you place a ruled surface across there, it only does one line. So that's no good. So we've got to create that as one. So we just do a ruled surface across these two. Jump into the curves workbench. Need to hide that ruled surface, and I want to select that sketch, and I'm going to create a curve that connects all those up. There we go. So that's one single connection there. I know it's not curved, it's still a line that allows us to create as one. So we've got this one and our ruled surface. So let's flip this over. Click the ruled surface, click the first rail, control click that, and control click the second rail, and use the sweep profiles across two rails. We can see our dots are all appearing there, our cloud, and then must remember to click off, click sweep two rails, and finally choose the approximate points to N.U.R.B's curved surfaces there, and there you go. So you've got basically like a corrugated iron effect there. If I did this over here, then we'll have a nice corrugation effect across that. But because I haven't done it there, I've just used one, then those two are molded together. So there's two examples for that. You can even use this for bolt holes if you so desire, but I would use something like the loft to do that, loft through profiles. So there you go. Hope that's helped, and I will be going through the other tools of the Curves workbench very shortly. If you like what you see, please subscribe to my site, and also I have a Ko-Fi site where you can actually donate a few pence or a few pounds, dollars, or whatever your currency is, and that's at ko-fi.com/mang0, and there you'll be able to help me fund my site, and all the money that I actually get from any funds will actually get pushed back into the channel. Thanks a lot for watching and subscribing. I'll see you next time.